VR can power the same AI applications like DeepSeek with the same GPU clusters we have in the network.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Epic Web3 podcast. I'm your host Irena, Head of Ecosystem at Chainflip. Our guest today is Neil Han, CEO and founder of Reddio, a parallel ZK-EVM Layer 2 powered by GPU for autonomous AI. They want to achieve an unrivaled computation scale with Ethereum level security. Hi Neil, thank you for joining us.
Hi Irena, thank you for having me here.
Well, let's dive in. For those who don't really know Reddio, can you talk a little bit about the architecture and what are the key challenges Reddio was created to tackle?
For sure. So we have been working on the layer 2 for the past 3 years. We definitely understand the path towards layer 2 and finally solve the scaling issues for Ethereum network is the EVM compatible layer 2. But when you talk about security, currently the ZK-EVM is definitely the best solution to go. However, the current performance for the ZK-EVM has been really low. For some of the mainstream EVM, it can only handle about 100 transactions per second, which is much lower, to be honest, than the optimistic wrap, and also lower than the market demand. So that's where Reddio comes in to solve this issue, to give the performance the layer 2 supposed to give, to power the layer 2 high performance transaction need. The whole architecture is powered by parallel execution and also powered by the GPU acceleration for the network. So that's overall the problem we are trying to tackle, and also a little bit like peek about the architecture we have been building for the past 3 years.
Right now, we have few solutions on the market which have the parallelization in place. We have SUI, we have SEI, and what are the core differences between them and Reddio?
Yeah, so for some of the mainstream layer 1 solutions, I think they are trying to tackle that from layer 1 perspective, where they are trying to use more performant CPUs, parallel executions to boost the performance, which has been, being tackled by companies like Solana, like Aptos before, even though it was a non-EVM compatible solution. But now they bring that into a EVM compatible solution. I think for layer 1, the major issue is you need a different scale of resources, capital to really bring up an ecosystem from zero, versus us trying to build that on top of a giant, which is the Ethereum network. To us, based on our experience, which is very technical driven, small team, that's actually the best path for us to go. And we also definitely believe the long-term Ethereum vision and how Ethereum actually bring to the market, even though there's a lot of noise right now in the market.
Yes, definitely. There has been quite a lot of discussions where Ethereum roadmap is going. And with that being said, what are your core convictions around Ethereum? And I guess in terms of data availability layer, do you see any constraints which may arise for layer 2s?
Yeah, so for us, right, we in the short term, definitely there are downtime right now for the whole Ethereum ecosystem due to there's a lot of market noise, and right now the hype is not on the technology itself, it's on the meme, on some of the concept around the meme, even like AI related topic. We has been with Ethereum, the whole ecosystem for 3 years. We see how the Ethereum organize the technical innovations, promote and motivate innovations. In the long term, we definitely believe that's the right way to go, even though in the short term, there are a lot of noise. We are here to build a long-term company, not a short-term, short-visioned project. From the data availability perspective, currently there's a discussion like sooner or later, the blob will be full of all the data from layer 2s, which I think happening. And what happened? The Ethereum has been really trying to push that and solve the issues. At the same time, there are other currently in the market, other solutions, data availability solutions like Celestia, like Layer in the market to tackle the issue in the middle. In the long term, I believe Ethereum can also solve that issue, but fortunately, right now there are solutions available. So that's basically where we are from the data availability perspective.
And I think it would be a good time to start delving a little bit more in the infrastructure side. I'll be very happy to chat about how you guys see the growth of the ecosystem and onboarding of the developers. But I think it's a good moment to speak about the core differences and the core strength of Reddio. You've touched upon parallel execution. If I would choose two more things which stand out in terms of the architecture of Reddio, it's the modular sequencing and the SDK, and then GPU acceleration. I think just to continuation the topic of building within Ethereum ecosystem and the current issues they have with sequencing, this is one of the most innovative solutions I've seen in a while. Both the way I understand it could be completely flexible, and also it opens up a way to onboard SVMs, alternative EVMs. And how did you guys start with building the decentralized sequencing? How you see this solution is different. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So when we started to do layer twos, like back in 3 years ago, there's only very few players in the market. We actually started to work with the Star ecosystem, understand how the layer two ecosystem has been really working, and we realized the decentralized layer two is definitely the trend because Star at that time wanted to do that, but there's no go framework to really enable the company to do that. That's where we work on this decentralized modular sequence SDK. It's very flexible. Think about this is like a Cosmos SDK, but it's dedicated for layer 2 and layer 3. We build the whole thing from scratch, enable every component available and needed for the layer 2 or layer 3, depending on the developer's need. And now we basically adding a parallel execution on top for the EVM, become a parallel EVM powered by this decentralized modular sequence SDK. But that become the current layer 2 of us, which is a decentralized parallel EVM. And we also think about like other approach, what else we can do to enhance the performance other than parallel execution. That's where, our we explore some with one research institute in Singapore. By the way, I'm actually also a guest lecturer at Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. When I talk to the professors from National University of Singapore, they're actually doing this GPU acceleration for smart contract fuzzing. I was wondering why can't I bring that GPU acceleration framework to a layer 2 to enhance the performance further. So that's basically how we started, and now it's already done for the pilot work. And with all this kind of work, we are able to achieve 60 times more performance than the current market available for the ZK-EVM, but we still achieve decentralizations for the whole architecture.
In terms of sequencers, one of the key arguments is the monetization aspect and the fee accrual which happens on the sequencers, which goes directly to L2 if we deal with centralized solutions. How the economic model within decentralized sequencer works for you guys, and how do you see the flywheel accelerating?
Yeah, so I would say currently in the market, there's a company talking about they are decentralized modular. For them, right, I would rather see them as a top-to-down approach, where they know the key decision makers of the layer twos. And because the key decision makers of the layer twos, from the government policy perspective, they need to have a decentralized approach. Because what if the government decided to shut down the service? Then the layer 2 cannot run because all the layer 2s right now are centralized layer 2. So that become a very risky issue where I talked to actually some of the companies in the layer 2 space, very famous company. And the CEO told me they would not give too much resources if I'm allowed now to the decentralized modular sequence SDK. Just because that's how the revenue coming from for the layer 2s, for the gas calls, for the sequencer handling all the gas, all the block generations. That actually decide how further can go for this kind of top-to-down approach. For us, right, we actually come in from developer perspective, because the developer want to have a decentralized modular sequence SDK to build a stack, getting more miners involved. Think about our current solution. If we buy all the GPUs for our own layer 2s, it will be super expensive for us to run from the start. There are a lot of other smaller companies may have the same situations. To really bootstrap layer 2, actually, from this perspective, decentralized approach make more sense. That's where we build this module. Developer can just take our open source module to deploy their own layer 2 for their applications. And the whole concept is making sure the developer can easy to learn, easy to deploy. It's very similar kind of concept like what the Cosmos SDK has been really working from the beginning. So basically, we are coming in to solve the issues, not solve the developer issues, not the key decision makers issues. And the skill for that, if you think about how Ethereum currently really come to this stage, they are the same, right? Doing the same issue to solve the developer issues and making sure the developer are well equipped. We are basically taking the same bottom to up approach for the modular sequence SDK. So hopefully that help the audience understand a little bit more.
There's definitely multiple approaches evolving right now. There's a lot of conversation around application specific sequencing and also around shared sequencing. In terms of prioritization, in terms of immediate opportunities, there are always the trade-offs. How you approach tackle the challenging in terms of coordination, EV, and management of the.
Yeah. So for a company like us, we are still hindered by this concept of trilemma, right? Where you have to figure out the two things you want to do, which among the three things, right? Which is scalability, security, and decentralization, right? For us, because we are kind of benefiting the layer ones already, which is highly secure. That's where the security is a little less concern for us, even though we are using ZK to make sure it can achieve the similar security compared to Ethereum. That's where we take the other two as the primary goal, which is the scalability and decentralization. So when we take these two only, for us on layer 2 is actually super easy to solve. Even though there are a lot of engineering work underneath, there are a lot of limitations we have to work out. For example, we have to make sure our whole stack is fully EVM compatible, which if you are only doing an optimistic wrap without any performance enhancement, that's actually very easy to do. But now we have to have all this parallel execution, performance enhancement, but at the same time, making sure it's EVM compatible. That gives us some of the issues, but I think we solve those issues, fortunately, along the way. That's actually basically give us the confidence to go to the market and tell the developers, come on, join us. You deploy, you enjoy the fastest speed for the network, but you don't need to modify any of your source code. You remove the whole smart contract from the other EVM layer to or Ethereum to us.
You've mentioned decentralization, and I do have to say there has been a lot of conversation around is the decentralization is still a core priority from the user perspective. You mentioned your focus on developers right now, but how do you see those relationships evolve moving forward? Do you think there is a big discrepancy between the prioritization of decentralization amongst the builders? And do you think moving forward, users would actually care as well about it?
Yeah, well, I think if you ask me a few months back, I won't answer yes that confidently. Now you look at the market, all the tokens are launching on no matter it's centralized exchange or decentralized exchange, it become the trading volume actually the DEX surpass the centralized exchange already, which means all these DEX they need a much better performant network compared to before. That's where to a DEX that's a decentralized architecture, and with a decentralized architecture and the best performance, that's what basically they are needing. They need. If you are not talking about decentralization, that's a centralized exchange, right? If that's the case, that's not the market is actually asking, right? The market is asking a decentralized stack supporting best trading experience for trading perspective. But there are many other use cases actually also need a similar kind of configuration.
Do you think in terms it's going to change when institutions will onboard on the system? And actually, talking about institutions and onboarding, is choosing to build on the EVM was also the play towards big institutions choosing Ethereum to build their own app chains. And how do you see leveraging of the decentralized sequencer, modular sequencer SDK would help to build purpose-built L2s and L3s?
Yeah, that's a very good question. We have been keeping a very close eye to the institutions because I'm coming from the Web2 cloud space where we saw even the traditional institutions had the same struggle when they want to make a decision to choose on-prem deployment versus public cloud deployment. Same thing happening in the past for blockchain space, where the banks, right, they have to choose on-prem or their own blockchain to make sure they don't really leak any credential informations, privacy informations. But now, look at what's happening in the market, and a lot of institutes start to think about how can I interconnect with the booming blockchains. So that's where the layer two or layer three can come in, because currently all the generic layer twos are still for public. We start to see our institute start to explore. Can I deploy a layer three on top of a generic layer two to be more privacy driven, so that I can decide from the institution perspective what kind of information I want to hide, right? Because it's a layer three, I can control that. But still, they are not losing the connectivity to layer two or layer one, depending on where they are deploying to. So that giving institution a best combination with privacy protected and also public connectivity included. This kind of hybrid model, I definitely will see that will happen sooner or later from the institution perspective.
Yes, definitely. And when they come on board, it would be the question who they could trust. And Ethereum to this day have one of the most astounding track records. And from the technology perspective, there's still builders and users have full trust in it.
Yeah, so absolutely right. So then when they want to deploy that, right, they need a solution to deploy for that. We actually deploy this modular signal SDK is a fully open source. The institution can take it and build their own layer two or layer three, very compatible to what we have. So that gives them a choice to go to market.
You've also you mentioned privacy solutions, and there are new use cases evolving around storing different data. Medical data is one of the very important ones. There's a lot of new opportunities for the IP. And from your background, since you worked both in traditional tech and traditional finance and now in Web3, where are other use cases outside of finance and gambling do you actually see evolve in the near future?
Well, there are so many use cases, right? If you just talk about the medical space, I see there are companies used to do that. I'm not sure whether they're still doing that, where there's used to have this issue. People actually spend money to do the DNA test, but they don't want to donate or allow the companies to share their DNA for public goods or for research or for any other purpose. I saw there's one company actually using blockchain to hide the data, the personal data, but at the same time, they allow other institutes to pay to use their DNA data. So that everything is actually built on top of the public blockchain with the privacy in mind. So that's one use case, right? The other use case I think currently we see more and more happening is the AI agent, right? We see the company start to build AI agent framework using the blockchain to receive the payment as a first step into entering into the new area of AI plus Web3. We also see companies start to build more logic on chain for the AIs to make sure the AI is more autonomous. Actually, we are really talking at the right time because if you look at the market, the DeepSeek was just announced and deployed, gaining so much popularity right now just in a few weeks' time. And the DeepSeek, the beauty of that is it allows the AI agent to actually running AI inferencing on the edge computation, which is a good use case for the blockchain to sit on. That's where, think about our architecture. It's a GPU powered parallel execution. We are actually can power the same AI applications like DeepSeek with the same GPU clusters we have in the network. So with that, right, not only we leveraging the GPU we have, but also we leverage the blockchain to receive and make a payment for the AI agent. That definitely give a lot of like ideas for futures for developers to really work on. For me, we really look forward to those applications coming very soon.
I think this is a good time actually to focus on the GPU acceleration element and how it plays in the architecture. And as I mentioned before, I am very fascinated by very novel approach of leveraging CUDA. And can you tell us a little bit more? I think high level would be very useful because this is a very novel way to go around it.
Yeah. So for GPU itself, right, we all know it's initially designed for a parallel execution for the GPU for the graphics. It's best designed for parallel execution per unit cost, which means per unit cost, GPU is much lower than CPU when you talk about parallel execution. There's an issue. For like a GPU from NVIDIA, they have this CUDA instruction running on top of GPUs. If you are only having a generic program running on top of a GPU, you can't really enjoy the speed of or the economy benefit of parallel execution from GPUs. So what we did was we transcode opcode of the EVM to CUDA instruction so that all the Solidity smart contract running on our network can run natively on the GPUs, enjoying the full capacity and capability of the GPUs from the network. So that's basically what we has done. There are actually tons of work, even though when I see that it sounds pretty simple. Yeah, so that's basically the architecture underlining. But at the same time, right, we have this resources allocation mechanism among all the GPU miners because decentralized miner network, where we know which miners has more GPU resources now available. And during those time, we can allocate those resources for AI applications if they need. So basically, we are trying to make full use of all the computation resources we have, other than wasting the miners work only doing hashing, because our GPU is not only doing hashing, but also smart contract execution and also AI inferencing. In future, maybe AI training. So that's how the whole thing has been designed, and also how currently we think the industry can benefit.
Do you see that DeepSeek now had alternative solution to the heavy usage of GPU that could also something potentially could be adopted further within the blockchain ecosystem and then replicated what Reddio has done, but let's say on a less capital dense level?
Yes, so that's actually basically what we has been seeing. And actually, after DeepSeek was announced, right, the team from the US, I think called Ifefe from Stanford, made another announcement for another reduced cost for a new LLM. Basically, the cost is only $50 to do the whole training. Very similar to DeepSeek approach, but much cheaper, need a much smaller computation scale. So with this trend moving forward, we definitely see the AI inferencing, even for AI training, will move to the edge. And imagine you and I, or so many people, can have their own LLM running on their own on behalf of them. They can basically dump all their knowledge, and that LLM become that digital twin of each individuals. And the digital twin can help the individuals make decisions, doing tasks, even doing AI meme trainings, or so many things they can do with the new RM coming to the market. By the time comes, there are more computation needed. There are more minus the node needed. That's where a blockchain architected kind of framework will make more sense from how to leveraging the computation resources perspective, from lower down the cost perspective, from making the AI available to large audience perspective.
But is then you're saying that future improvements in computation and in terms of computation and data availability effectively might propel the commoditization of blockchain in general as we have it right now?
Kind of. So actually, when I was talking about the AI agent being popular, I was also thinking like in the future, if all the AI agents start to work on behalf of human beings, how can they make a payment transactions, or even how can a human make sure the AI agent is fully autonomous, any human to do the interactions? So that's basically what the blockchain has been really here for. Right. And with that being popular, the blockchain will definitely need a better performant blockchain architecture. So that's basically where I'm coming from for the answer I just made.
And one of the biggest subjects which arise around AI agents is IP and provenance. And how does Reddio team see themselves playing the role in tapping into this market, really?
You mean the privacy or what?
I think for now, I think about the IP creation, IP protection, and provenance.
So from an IP production perspective, we already see a lot of things happening. For blockchain itself, it's tough to solve that issue just because blockchain is designed for decentralization, is designed for equality for any people to do anything. If you see some of the platform help launch the meme coin, there are so many IP infringing issues happening there. The government asked them to shut down some of them. I believe the same thing will happen. I think it will come back to the people's mindset. When that really happens, would you rather to make a payment for a copycat of that uh, original AI from the original people, or you actually want to just pay for a copycat for fun or for something you want to achieve. That may not be what the blockchain can help, but I think in the long run, people will make their own judgment on how to do that. You are definitely not buying a meme from a Nike meme right now in the market if there's a Nike meme, right? Because people know it's a fake. I believe the same thing will happen, and because the originality of that AI from the original people can dumping more information and knowledge into the AI, or make sure the AI can evolve, right? With that, right, the copycat will be difficult to catch up, hopefully. So yeah, that's what I can imagine right now, but I don't know what will happen in real life in future.
Unfortunately, I don't have crystal ball anywhere lying around either. I think I wanted to get back to Reddio a little bit more because you guys had a crazy year. You've launched your testnet in December, and I was wondering how the progress has been and what's on the roadmap.
Yeah, so I think kudos to the community. Really believe what we has been building so far. We actually have the largest community among all the parallel execution layer 2 or layer 1s. So far, we have on our public testnet, we have 3 plus million wallet address, 25 million transactions happening on the network. We have 400,000 Twitter followers, 200,000 Discord members, and 3 million point system users right now. It's phenomenal because only 4 months ago we are nowhere like this. It's almost like zero, and now we have this kind of data and the ecosystems we have. Those 50 plus companies has been deployed to the public testnet, and also 500 developers deploy their smart contract on the network. This phenomena, I think this year will be really a great year for us, but also challenging because we solved some of the issues for the public testnet when a lot of people coming in to do transactions. It's a beta testing for what we declare we can handle from the concurrency perspective, and finally we really can handle that. Right. The next step is moving to the mainnet in March. I think we are confident no matter what right now.
Ooh, did I just get some alpha?
Yeah. So I hope so. We has been spending 3 years building the whole thing, not like other company. They only spend 1 year. I think definitely finally pays off on what we has done.
Yeah, absolutely. You multiple times stressed out the role of developer community and onboarding, and use this as a rationale to why you partially decided and chose EVM, and what was the strategy around the ecosystem development? And my actual follow-up question would be, you guys were working with Starknet as well. What is the synergies between Reddio and Starknet and the ecosystems there?
Yeah, so for what ecosystem currently we are building, I think kudos to Ethereum. We has been doing a lot of events around the Ethereum community and conferences. We has a lot of people or companies contacting us on deploying their smart contract and their work onto our network. We also start to cater to some of the applications no other network can handle due to the concurrency we can handle and also the architecture we have. Moving further, we will start to do more segment-driven hackathons to make sure those developer and the category we like the most really know us, like the AI related hackathons, for example. We'll co-host with some of the AI framework, leading framework companies to do the hackathons, similar to other industry like order book, big stacks, on-chain games. There are a lot of things to do, but I think it's good. Like we just announced the advocate program, and also we'll announce actually very soon we call it the foundry program. It's more for developer and companies, where we start to have community in different regions and start to interacting with more developers to make sure people get to know our technology. For Starnet, I think they has been the pioneers in the industry. We respect them a lot. We learn a lot from them. That's where we started the whole idea from, especially the decentralized model sequence SDK. But because the choosing non-EVM compatible right now, from technology cooperation perspective, we are kind of on a different direction right now. It's not easy for them. I saw the challenge because imagine a developer doing Ethereum, and now I'm moving to a layer 2, have to learn a new language. I see their challenge, and also but they are trying to handle that challenge. But for us, right, it's natural. We need to do a EVM compatible layer 2. That's where currently we don't have any more partnership. We still have the model synchronized SDK for standard ecosystem to use. It's fully open source. Everyone can contribute and use it. But for now, it's that is what it is.
It's in terms of roadmaps and collaborations, given how fast the industry changes, I always think it's fantastic learning. And then each team, when they collaborate, especially as you mentioned with Starknet, because they're in Cairo, it's a very great opportunity for both of the ecosystems to see how they can move together, or if not, always keep the warm partnerships. That's what I always like to believe about our industry, is that the closer you work together, whether you're working within the same ecosystem where you might be even potentially competitors, there's always an opportunity to learn from each other.
For sure.
And you never know when next you're gonna cross paths. I wanted to finish our conversation to talk about your personal investment activities. You have been an angel, and I was wondering how do you view the market where we see a lot of saturation, and what are the next things that you're excited about?
Yeah. So I personally started to do angel investment about 6 years ago, even before I started to do Reddio, before coming to Web3. So that's where I had a lot of angel check in Web2 space, where I invested a lot of SaaS platforms. But coming to crypto, it's been a learning journey for me. And that's where it's very difficult for me to make any bet, even because I was learning there. But now I kind of know the mechanism right now a little bit better. So start to invest some of the companies. We started to actually invest I started to invest the companies in our ecosystem first. Gradually, we are looking for more companies to invest in general. But I only have limited time. That's where we are moving all this investment initiative into our foundation, or like ecosystem grant or ecosystem venture capital kind of concept. But from the future perspective, definitely see there are a lot of new category apps coming to the space where we talk about AI agent. I can even think there's a company can launch similar to OpenAI, but focus on crypto. And even the models were very different. For example, each individual will have their own AI agent, but all the users using the same kind of OpenAI kind of UI, where they explore different AI agent in that platform, but the whole AI agent is paid by the crypto. And the owners of the AI agent will be fully paid by the users directly without any cut in the middle. So that's definitely one thing I think will happening sooner or later. Uh, that's where I invested one company before. I'm not sure whether they're going to win or not, but I see more and more companies start to do the same thing. The other things I would say is any company can help the decentralized apps achieve similar experience like centralized apps. For example, the DEX, right? Who can make the DEX experience as most as a centralized exchange. That kind of DEX will be definitely coming into the picture very soon. Actually, there's already some of the good ones in the market. They grow very fast. For example, Hyper Liquid, for example, even for some of the meme launchpad, they're doing the same kind of great work. So that's some of the things I can see happening in the future with um, finally a high performant blockchain infra available for these kind of app developers. Definitely see them coming up very soon.
The interesting thing, if you think about it, we focus so much on finessing what has been built in TradFi, and there's always so much conversation about the volume and the user experience and the amount of swapping on decentralized versus centralized exchanges. But the interesting thing is, and from our conversation and the way you see the future developments, which could be unlocked by blockchain, do you think there is an opportunity that we finally will be able to start building something actually much better than we have in TradFi?
Yeah, for sure. That's actually already happening, but I would only see the whole thing will start to evolve more. Like I mentioned, some of the applications just now, right? And you can't imagine in the past there are companies declare they are a fastest network, but somehow when a lot of people start to buy or make tradings, the whole network is congested, right? So if it's the better infra available right now, I definitely see more and more companies start to build these kind of decentralized applications. It will be just more and more coming to the market.
I think I'm quite excited about not seeing things being done better, but actually differently. And when we start reaching the momentum of that coming to fruition, then I think we can be proud about what we're doing in this industry.
Yeah, so it's a great time to, being entrepreneurs and developers currently see so many changes every day. I don't know what will happen in another maybe 1 or 2 weeks time in the space.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. But that what keeps it exciting. I think in 2 weeks everybody gonna try to see each other in real life. However, I realize I'm not sure when the podcast is gonna be out. It might be post our first conference of this year. But anyway, Neil, just to wrap up, could you please share where the listeners can find more information about Reddio, about you, both the interested participants in the testnet, developers, and more users?
Yeah, so we keep all the information updated on our Twitter. If the audience can search REDDIO underscore COM, Reddio underscore com, you will be able to see all the updates from Reddio. If you want to know more about the information, so you click into the profile page, you will see the website and also technology documentation there. Or if you have more questions, feel free to reach out to our team through Twitter and also Discord.
Amazing. Neil, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me. And I hope I catch you soon on one of the Epic Web3 events.
Thank you, Irena and the team to have me here for the broadcast. Really excited about our discussion just now. Looking forward to meeting you in the future.
Thank you. Bye.